welcome again to another banging edition of Heroes Diary. First and foremost, let's just say a massive thank you to you all for the following, for the support, for the comment, for the like, for the share. Listen, you're helping our community grow, and I love that, and I'm really, really grateful about that. We are all about spreading the gospel, black success, preaching black success to the world, telling our stories to the world, getting the world engaged with our journey. We've got people like me and perhaps you who've, started from nothing, and in a lot of cases from like underprivileged background to get their voices heard in the world and make the world really recognize what we're all about. Anyway, let's get into today, because today is a very special one. And I say special because we're deviating a bit. I always say I'm not a political person. I don't like to go into politics. So please forgive me today if I don't have all the political jargons. But hey, today is about representation. It's about our voices being heard. So we've got a very beautiful Nigerian here in the UK. Well, she's Nigerian. She was born here in the UK, but she's Nigerian still. And she is contesting for MP for Tottenham. That's in the north of London. So in case you don't know.
Hello, my name's Jennifer Obaseki. Some call me Mum on the Run. And I'm actually running for MP.
Now, she's contesting for MP. And by all means, this is Jennifer Obaseki. Hello, Jennifer.
Oh, good evening.
Woo!
How are you?
Listen, don't chill in here. We're here to let people know, let people feel the energy. They have to feel what you've got to offer.
Energy.
The energy.
Okay.
So bring it on. Let's go. Okay. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
How about you, Kenny?
Buddy day. That's it. That's how we like it, man.
Good.
Listen, welcome to Heroes Diary. We're so honored to have you. It makes a lot of sense to have black representation in governance. Like I said, we're going to try as much as possible not to make it too political. We just want to make it as accessible to our normal people as possible.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you are contesting.
Yep.
For MP, which is Member of Parliament.
That's right.
What does that mean?
What it means is Member of Parliament being the person that represents a local constituency or ward, as it may be called, within the House of Commons. Looks out for the interests of all the people living in that area, outlines any issues, deal with the constituents' issues with housing, immigration, property, disputes within local government, and it's making sure that they have all of their needs catered for, but within the limitations that the government has. So I'm hoping that when I get into office, because I mean business, that I'll be able to respond to all of the sitting MP, David Lammy's emails that he's not responded, because I hear a lot of complaints.
And David Lammy is the current
MP.
So you want to push the guy out
there?
there.
He needs to step off and step
David
out.
Lammy.
Yeah. He's been there for too long.
Shift.
4 terms.
You know what I mean? 4 terms.
Yeah, almost 20 years. So it's too long as far as I'm concerned. I think he's become complacent and he's focused on himself rather than the people living in Tottenham.
So David Lammy is what party?
Labour Party.
Labour Party.
Yes.
And you are
Workers' Party. Yes.
Okay.
Under George
Is that
Galloway.
not the first? Therein not lies the first challenge. Workers' Party, Labour Party.
That's true. A lot of people are not used to it because it's a new party or not as popular as the main two, the Conservatives, Labour. But those two parties have not served people. Look at the economy, and they've actually become quite fused in their policies. Yesterday, we had the release of further manifestos, and when you look at what they're talking about economically, socially, it is quite fused. They're borrowing out of each other's playbook now. And honestly, Britain deserves better, and we hope to give better.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Wow. It's an incredible task. And I'm going to say that because, first of all, you're a woman. Mm-hmm. You are black.
Oh, yes.
How do you want to make this happen?
You've got to have that faith and ability. And I believe I have both. I have that conviction that I'm highly skilled. My background is in law. I've served the community as a lawyer for 23 years. And not only that, I can see that those there aren't really doing a good job. And many of them there aren't as qualified, aren't as experienced. A lot of people, sadly, that are working in government tend to have risen there into their positions without really having proper life experience. And believe me, I was born in Tottenham. I have life experience. I've also been to school abroad in Ikorodu. I've lived in
Nigerian sense.
And so that, you know, that sense, that worldly sense is what I have. And I have that really subjective understanding of a lot of people's issues living in the area. So for me, I believe that I'm better equipped than them. So that confidence is there. So I don't believe it's that much of a challenge. It's just that I need to give people the awareness of the fact that there's an alternative, a better alternative.
A better alternative. No, I completely appreciate that. I know, although obviously when you talk of your confidence, your awareness, your ability, your knowledge, and all this kind of stuff, those are great stuff in itself. However, we know that one major stuff when it comes to politics and breaking into the gate is the issue of gatekeepers.
Yes.
There are always people who, this is our thing. How do we, especially as a black person and a woman.
I'm so glad you raised that, because when you look at someone like David Lammy, that is exactly the definition of what he's doing. He's gatekeeping, which is the wrong thing to do. If a community needs better, then you should step aside and let somebody deliver better. You also see other people that don't want to move. They think it's their personal property, but Tottenham's not his personal property. The people need better. He needs to, go away. But the other thing is, people have the power to move them. So as much as we can see that there's gatekeeping, the power lies within the people who must vote for different. And so the power actually lies within them to object to who is there and choose a better person. So that's why I'm imploring everybody, 4th of July, to make sure that they vote for me, especially if you're in Tottenham, to be on UMP so I can make better change and progress.
Do you think that you have enough time, though, between now and then?
This is the thing. Our lovely Rishi Sunak, our lovely PM, he called an early snap election, and people feel he did that because the economy was improving a little. So he must have thought, do you know what, let me ride this wave quickly.
Yeah.
And make the announcement, and it caught a lot of people off guard. However, I must say that the Workers' Party had already started to prepare itself. It had its clear points and already started choosing its candidates. So we're ready. The only thing is making sure people are aware. So delivering the message through lovely programs like this, I must say, is, amazing. But again, people need to be engaged. And there's a lot of apathy. Sadly, people are feeling the economic crisis, feeling that they can't shift this government. And even if they vote, what difference does it make? And we've got to deliver the message that it makes a difference. It's just civic responsibility and making sure the younger people this time encourage them, their parents, even if they are not old enough to vote, make sure you ask your parents what are they doing and let them be fully aware that there are alternatives, because the young people weren't involved. And what did we have the last time? We had Brexit. So this time around, people can't be complacent. They must engage in that civic duty and make sure that they elect for proper, better change for Britain.
Are we ready for the change, though? Because even in Tottenham, even given your own area, as it were, do you think they're ready for the change? Because now it's just going to be something else than the status quo. Are we ready for that, even if somehow we feel that's what we kind of need?
I hope so, because there are parts of Tottenham that are still stuck in abject poverty, and there's other parts that have received so much funding, and there's a lot of gentrification. There needs to be improvement across the whole area. You can't just have improvement around the train station or improvement just at the stadium, a new stadium, wow. Then you have no housing, lack of affordable units. You can't have that. Patient waiting list. You can't have that. Schools without resources. Where's all the money gone? Where's all the promises for local jobs? You see, they need the change, and they should really be craving it or stay the same under the same person who's been sat there for more than 20 years. That's just wrong. In order for them to have movement, they have to move, and they have to be at the ballot box and choose me as their MP.
Yes, I hope people will do that. I'm sure we all need a change if we can get it, if that's actually what we want. Because sometimes people are funny. They say something and then
they don't take action.
They don't take action, or they even do something completely different. But how much fight have you got, though? I know you're a lawyer. You've been a lawyer for what? 23 23 years.
Yes.
So you own your own law firm.
Yes.
And so do you think that has really equipped you with what you need to fight these big boys? Because it's a big boys club, isn't it?
I've never been one to back down from a challenge, and I'm usually successful in my challenges. So that is the confidence I move off. And then I also feel that I'm doing what's right. If nobody else challenges this individual who's been there, complacent, not ensured progress across the whole of the area, who else will? I'm from the area. I'm best equipped, I feel. The other candidates, I've not even really looked at their profiles, but the people that I've canvassed to all feel and say that they really hope I get my message out because I seem best equipped. When I've been campaigning, people have come up to me and said, I've been researching the candidates, you're best equipped. So that, again, gives me that endorsement that I feel I will be able to be successful.
So, okay, without pandering to, I know you're a good sister, same color,
Sister
all
from
this kind
Seven
of thing,
Sisters.
that kind of thing. But when they say best equipped, what makes you best equipped?
What makes me best equipped, as I've said, one, I'm from the area. I have that subjective, detailed understanding of the area and the needs, the demographic. I fully understand them, from those who are recent migrants to those who were born there. I have that integral knowledge. I went to school in the area. So looking at people who've grown up, their family, the community, the businesses, which is really, really important. I'm in business myself. So I know the real issues that they're facing. Some of them have been facing disruption due to the building of the stadium, the regeneration that's happened around Tottenham Hale, currently massive roadworks, but yet nobody has reached out to them. I've spoken to the people, so I have their direct instructions to me as to what the issues are. And apart from that, I'm also a mum. And I think being a mum is also a superpower, by the way. So being a woman is a superpower in itself, but being a mum is also a superpower. So I have kids that have also played in the area, told me what they have seen. I've spoken to mothers in the area who've told me what they want for their children. Apart from my education, legal background, I also have those specific qualities which lead me and put me in the best position.
Wow. So you've spoken about being a mom now, and I think, obviously that's one of the biggest challenges, or biggest, challenges.
It's a superpower.
It's a superpower. In that. Yeah, it takes respect to all moms out there. Mm-hmm. And so do you think that will, first of all, help you achieve or be able to do what you set out to do? And most importantly, how is that going to impact on other women? Because obviously women's issues is always a problem. It's always a topic for discussion, women's rights and stuff. Mm-hmm. In your locality, how much advancement have we had in terms of women's representation, rights and stuff like that?
Well, I personally hope that it will be inspiring to other women. Some women in positions, especially like me being a single parent, feel, I'm limited. Whereas I really embrace the fact that I am a single parent, but hopefully it will be inspiring. You can't put limits on yourself just because people have stereotypes. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you see other women in the public domain and you see them treated badly. My example would be Diane Abbott. For some reason, the Labour Party treated her in a particular way. Not only did they suspend her, but they delayed their decision-making, tried to push her out of running again as an MP. When you see women being treated like that and nobody speaking up for them, it's a problem. People did speak up for her, and that's why they backed down. So hopefully people will also stand up and speak up for me, even when I'm not in rooms, in order to have my back. And I hope also that my reputation goes before me in these situations where people think, she's a woman, but she's a dynamite woman. She does X, Y, and Z. She's had so many successes, etc. So hopefully being a woman will be inspiring to others, especially young girls out there who might want to take up a career in politics or take up a career even in law. I just hope that it inspires others.
But do you think, because one thing they keep saying is, how women themselves are always against each other. Women don't support women.
Catty.
The whole, yeah. So you think you got women support? I mean, we've talked about the gatekeepers, the big boys. It's also the other challenge of women themselves, especially maybe even black women.
I must say, the spirit of sisterhood is not dead. But I've had excellent words of encouragement from a number of women, Nigerian, English, Irish, even Turkish women in the community there. That has really bolstered me to keep stepping forward and stepping up. But there are some women that sort of say, how will you manage? How will you do? There are the naysayers, but there'll always be naysayers. I don't pay attention to to negative criticism. I don't really, because I've always kind of been a person that flies solo.
Right.
So I know where I'm going. I know how I'm going to get there. If you doubt the fact that I can get there, that's your business. I got things to do. That's my attitude.
Wow, that's a very gung-ho one, and you don't really care. As in, you're not really bothered by criticism, I say. But what if criticism could help you achieve your
constructive criticism is always welcome. Absolutely. But people will be negative no matter what. There are those that might speak out of concern, which again is completely understandable. But those were like, I wanted to speak pidgin there, like, where did she do say? Who she thinks says she be. There will always be those kind of people as well. But I have no time for them, to be fair. Good luck to them but I've got things to do, so I'm going to focus on what I got to do.
Focus on the focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Focus on the focus. All right, cool. But listen now, young people, because young people would form a large part of your, because...
Me, I was explaining that I'm over a certain age, so what do you call young people? What is the definition of young people nowadays?
The young people we're talking about are I mean, obviously, I don't know, there's Gen Z, there's Gen X, Gen all of them.
All the gens.
But a lot of what you'll be facing is problems affecting these people.
Correct.
And they are the ones, they can't be bothered, man. A lot of them they don't even care about governance because they don't even understand what's going on there. How are we going to get our youth, as we are, to be a part of this thing, to just feel like this belongs to them, that this is speaking to them, this is representing their problem, not like just some guys in suits and skirts and just talking their own talk and millions of stuff, and then the next thing we're just going to pop out and start another riot in Tottenham. How can we not make this happen? How can we just make sure that these people's problems are,
Well, the first thing is to really, coming out on this particular podcast is one, I'm hoping that they will hear that I absolutely understand their issues. We have so many kids in Tottenham that are not in education, training and employment, first of all. So it's making sure that they understand. I understand their issues. I know that they need provision. They need the opportunities. And that is what they're missing. They're missing somebody that understands their needs. So I'm here for that, and I'm here to deliver that for them. That's number one. Secondly, it's to show them again, Brexit. People did not sit down and think about what happens in 5 years, 10 years' time. They have got to realize that they have to take control of their futures by taking part in the election. That's the starting point. They can't complain in 5 years' time when they don't have certain provisions, when they did not take part in the election now. So it's in your interest to take part. Please, if you feel this is for the elders, is that the right phrase? This is for the elders. No, it's about you. It's not about the aunties and uncles. It's about you. If you're over 18, it's about you. And you need to take hold of what is going to be available in the future for you, whether you want higher interest rates, whether you want a lack of housing, if you're trying to move out of your mum and dad's and there's nowhere for you to go, nowhere for you to rent because you can't afford it. Some of the accommodation that's been built in Tottenham, some are part of the regeneration units, are so expensive. They're completely out of range for the people who are originally from Tottenham. And how did that happen? That happened because not enough affordable housing units were built. Nobody thought about the Gen Zs and the younger people who will be leaving home or who will be needing to step out and live independently. Nobody thought about them. So we have to change that. nobody's thought about the courses. Though the College of North East London, which is, I actually went to the college as well, is there, the courses are on offer. Do they reflect what's needed in today's economy? Are there enough digital courses there? Are there enough vocational courses there? Again, people are not looking at how the syllabus needs to develop in order to sustain the UK economy in future years. Us as a party, we've looked at that, and we're looking at how we revolutionise the UK economy to make sure it serves its purpose going forward and serves the young people who are going to become the leaders of tomorrow.
You got kids?
Yeah, man, I got kids.
Okay, so how old are they?
Oh my, I have a big one who's 21,
Okay.
and I have 15, 14, 13, and then I have 8. And he's like,
You've been busy, man.
I'm just blessed.
No, that's good. But then you've got, I think, that helps because you've got kids who are kind of right within the age of, I mean, what we're talking about, 21, 15, 18, whatever.
Yes.
That's kind of
It's their future.
So having them is playing a part. It's helping you understand these problems, like what their peers are facing. Is that helping at all?
Yes, because some of them, relate issues to me, and they go to different activities. Their friends, their parents have issues, so I get to hear some of the challenges that people face, not just from their local governments or their local councils, but also from their jobs due to economic situations. And sometimes it's quite heartbreaking when you expect a certain social provision to be in place. Yeah. You expect that if you lose your home or your home is not fit for purpose, that somebody will step in, somebody will tell your landlord to do something. But when you're put on an automated service that doesn't respond, and then you have no ability to cover certain basics, and there's no help, then something needs to shift, something needs to change. A lot of the local councils are running out of money. Some have even filed bankruptcy. That's how bad things are out there. Of course, you've got Croydon, you had other ones going into special measures even. Wow. What happens to the children that need help? What happens to the elderly?
So councils filing bankruptcy.
Yes.
Wait, how is that even possible? Is government not giving them money?
Government is, but whether it's mismanagement, whether it's abuse of people that are in office that don't know what they're doing, or whether it's just strain due to the demand of services, something needs to give, and there has to be accountability, which is really, really important. This Conservative government has really got away with a lot of, let me say, situations that ordinarily people should be held to account and really challenged on. How can certain MPs make millions during COVID? How is that possible when people died? I lost my mum during COVID, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running.
Right.
It's wrong that there was a government in place that put things out there that people must do, and yet within their own companies and family structures and even trust, they made millions. That's wrong. And people should be held to account. And the fact that they're not is also a very deep concern, not just for me, but people watching. And those people watching thinking, see, they're getting away with all this. What's the point in me voting? And the point in you voting is because people like me, if you vote for people like me, will hold them to account and will challenge these kind of audacious, atrocious actions.
All these men, they should be scared of you.
Men, they shake.
They should be scared.
No, they shouldn't be scared. If they've done nothing wrong, they shouldn't be scared.
Yeah.
It's quite simple.
Yeah. Are you going to be a nice one, or are you going to be a...
Do I look like I'm a bad person? I'm a very nice person.
You're speaking out like your own. Like, they really should be scared. They really should get themselves ready for what's coming.
They should just be able to hold account. That's it. I'm a very nice person. I'm an understanding woman. I'm a very considerate woman. But the one thing is, I am a lawyer, and I am going to make sure I deliver for the people. If the people want accountability, absolutely right. If people didn't do the right thing when they're in office, they should explain themselves. It's just a simple explanation, is it not?
I reckon it is. Look, I came across something that says in 2017, you co-authored a complaint letter book to the French government.
Oh, yes.
Something about France, a pedophile's playground.
Yes.
age of consent, rape and grooming, in about 2018 then. I mean, that sounds really strong. And first of all, what was the connection with like France? I mean, you write the letter to like France government, and what's going on there?
I'm known as an international expert on preventing gender-based violence. I've spoken at Oxford University multiple times, the United Nations multiple times, and I also support organisations who are trying to improve their practices on preventing gender-based violence. What we noticed at that time in France was that young girls, migrant girls especially, were being groomed easily because the French law did not hold the definition of rape for children under the age of consent if there was no violence. So what that meant was young migrant girls who were not used to so much attention, who often had been given a few gifts. Paedophiles would prey on them because they saw them as easy targets. And where there was no violence during the act of sex, even though they were too young to consent, the police were not prosecuting. That was an issue for me. So I wrote a protest letter alongside a number of other organizations because the French Minister of Justice, who was a woman, wanted to even reduce the age of consent even further rather than protect these girls. So we stood up and we made sure that we made a lot of noise by writing and petitioning to make sure that didn't happen and to let them know that paedophiles were actually targeting young French girls and young girls from migrant families because of the lackadaisical nature of the French police when prosecuting rape.
How successful was that?
It was successful. She didn't reduce the age of consent, and it brought a whole lot of highlight to the issue. Also awareness to families, don't let people around, and let girls know how to say no, and not even that, to know that they must speak out and report those who are grooming and carrying out acts of inappropriate behavior around them.
Wow. So gender-based violence, why is that important to you?
It's important to me because a lot of girls and women suffer violence in all forms. So that's just not just the physical direct, but also other forms of abuse, and often don't have the voice or the courage to speak up about it. So in order to make sure that they are protected, it's letting them know what constitutes a crime. Just because somebody doesn't use violence but is sexually exploiting you, it's a crime. In addition to that, you being forced into positions of servitude where you can't speak up, but you're forced into certain acts, even if it's not necessarily sexual acts, but acts where you feel compelled and are being exploited, that you speak up. And also, my origins are from Benin City in Edo State, so that's where my parents are from. And at a certain stage, a lot of girls from that region were being trafficked and exploited. Right now, trafficking, we don't often call it out because a lot of the girls are seen as, they're just wayward, or they're just not conservative or restrict, they're all kinds of things. But regardless, it's about letting them know how to say no, letting them know situations that they're likely to be put in danger, and making them really confident to speak up against perpetrators who are often out there in public but hide under this control that they have over them. So I'm very passionate about it. And not only that, but there's the issue of FGM. I don't know if you know about female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
So I lecture on that.
Is that still a big thing right now?
Well, I lecture on it. I teach how to prosecute and how to protect families that are accused of doing it and falsely accused of doing it. So you see, a lot of times professionals are not adequately trained.
Right.
And then there's the stereotype, they're African and they're traveling to North Africa, or the Horn of Africa. What are they doing? So it's about teaching best practice again around that field. It is still a thing. There's the clinical version of FGM, which is let's go to a clinic and cut off this part and that part. And then there's the let me say, the traditional form of FGM, which is let's go back home to a village and then suddenly let's cut this part and let's cut that part. There's also symbolic cutting. So let's just cut a little bit and nobody complains. So again, teaching, making them sure there's the awareness, making sure people understand the offences that can be committed if you aid and abet or fail to report as a professional. If you fail to report, think, oh, let me not say nothing. Teaching all of that. I've done all of that. I continue to do all of that because I'm. Yeah.
All right, so let's just go. So in Tottenham, how is gender-based violence or with regards to women, is that a big deal? Is that something? Is that a major thing that you have to face as an MP if you become?
Well, as an MP, gender-based violence is something that I've actually taught, and I'm a professional expert. I would say expert in because I've lectured on the subject and I've done training. But within that constituency, within Tottenham, there's a large demographic. There are high numbers of domestic violence, and there are different people from different cultural backgrounds. So with regards to the occurrence of GBV issues, yes, it is something that I would have to deal with. I'd have to make sure there's enough support within the area, intervention projects and training programs. But the focus should be on making sure the survivors go on and thrive as well. So not just about the training for prevention, not about just about the intervention, but making sure the support services are there for survivors, which is accessible housing, access to medical support as well, and also mental health and emotional support, because going through such a trauma means that they will need that engagement with those services to make sure that they are able to continue thriving within the rest of their lives.
With all due respect, have you experienced any domestic violence personally?
As a lawyer, I actually advise people all the time on it. And within my own home, is that what you mean?
Personally,
well,
yourself.
Let me say I've witnessed domestic violence up close and personal.
Okay. And is that why it's so passionate for you? Or just even the fact that you're from Benin in Nigeria, which is a hot spot for trafficking, pretty much, we all know. Does any of all that prepare you for facing women problems, women issues?
Once again, that's what makes me best equipped to deal with it. Experience you can't buy, And so that's why I say I'm best equipped, because I've dealt with these things in the courtroom. I've made sure that there's prevention for continuance of issues with women. I understand the legal dynamics. I understand even how the law is required to be, amended at some points to make sure that it protects women adequately. I'm actually part of a family law research group as well. I'm one of the founding members of that group called SHERA, that looks at how the court system and the legislation should be better enhanced to protect victims of domestic violence.
So there's a hope. There's hope for
there's
women.
Hope for improvement. And men. Lots of men are victims of domestic violence. They don't speak up. And when it comes down to men, sadly, they are missed. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of provision for them. So you have a lot of men that come into the country, suffer domestic violence, are exploited, not just by their female spouses and then the families of those female spouses, but then they're ignored or they're not believed. And then there's no support for them. Then on top of that, sometimes they suffer without having support for their immigration situations, which can be really, debilitating for them, especially even when there's kids involved. They can feel very much so debilitating.
So immigration. So what are you going to do? That's a big deal.
What are you going to do? I'm not going to be encouraging any flights to Rwanda, first of all.
We're not sending them to Rwanda.
No, but we're laughing, but the UK at the moment, as we talk, has over 150 vacancies within the care industry. What do we do? Have you met any
150?
local... 1,000. Okay. Have you met any young British born and bred people that want to go and do care work? Have you met any? Have you met any that want to go and do farming? Have you? Because I have not. So when we look at these jobs, some of these vocational jobs that none of the UK young people want to do, then who else should do them? So you need to have a home office that actually is efficient and fit for purpose. Trained staff, equipment, proper infrastructure, IT equipment to process applications and deliver results. People shouldn't have to pay thousands of pounds, wait months or even years for decisions. We shouldn't have people accused of corruption in the Home Office. We shouldn't have people not able to make decisions and just have delays. That's absolute madness. And unfortunately, we have that currently with this government, and they're thinking of sending people to Rwanda rather than investing in the Home Office, making sure they have proper infrastructure to deliver decisions on time, and also remove people who have failed their cases. Why is it they don't know where people are? All these inefficiencies and absolute recklessness that's going on there needs to stop. We had the Windrush scandal where documents were destroyed. Now we just have people sitting and waiting and documents piling up. Let me say digital documents piling up, because most of the applications are done and managed digitally. But the UK needs foreign workers, period. But they must operate a fair immigration policy. And if at the moment there are resources that are operating that are not working properly, then they should face the resources and deal with it, rather than blame foreign workers who pay money for their applications, bring their family members in on occasion, and those family members also work and contribute to the UK economy.
Of course.
So the applications are contributing, the people are contributing, they're making sure that the UK residents are healthy, maintained. If every foreigner left the NHS tomorrow, what would happen?
I mean, that's always been a big deal. It's always been big. Immigration is always a big issue, especially now after Brexit. We got a lot of brothers and sisters around the world that want to come to UK. And listen, we're immigrants. You were born here, but your parents are immigrants. Yes. Yeah. So what in your childhood prepared you for all this? Like,
what in my childhood?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was the good food I was eating.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, growing up in Tottenham was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
What really disturbs me is the fact that the youth of today are not going to have the same resources that I had. We had our after-school clubs. We had our activities. I used to go to an after-school club called Crowland, and I actually learned a lot of African dancing there. We had a drummer called Isaac. There was an evening that I went down to South Bank, and it was like, you're coming to dance. And he used to take the troop of us, and we danced with Miriam Makeba on the stage.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, are there still clubs that do that? Are there still, free activities that do that? I used to be able to swim at the Tottenham. It wasn't the Tottenham Green Leisure Centre then. It was a swimming pool by Tottenham Town Hall. And I was offered the opportunity to get a gold medallion. So I did the swimming. I got into the club. All of that, again, free. Kids don't have these opportunities now. All these things are being cut, and it's wrong. Kids should have the opportunity to develop life skills for sure, and have the engagement, improve their social activities without there being this extra cost that parents right now can't afford.
Do you visit Nigeria?
Of course.
Yeah, how often?
How often? I try to go at least once a year, but it is challenging. Obviously, I have a massively busy work schedule, and my family dictate my ability to go to Nigeria. I wish I could bring Nigeria here. So
where do you go? Benin, Lagos? Where do you go?
All of the above, but I love Abuja at the moment. Yeah,
okay.
Abuja's my place.
Yeah, well, you love Abuja. Listen, you love Abuja. You got skills in politics, international politics, and all that. Any plans for Nigerian politics?
That's a different kettle of fish, that, isn't it? You've got to have some thick skin.
Nigerian politics, no, but all this your English.
We've got to break them down now, if that were entered. No wahala.
Yeah.
So Nigerian politics is one of those optimistic, visions.
Yeah.
We all hope that the politics in Nigeria improves. Yeah. We all saw what happened during the NSAS. Yeah. During that time, I actually was so upset at what I saw on my TV screen. And I started a kind of movement. So I'm always supporting accountability and social justice groups because, again, the community, the people, their voices must be heard. And we can't have situations, what we had back then. Things have improved somewhat, but we can't have situations like we had back then, where there was no accountability.
Yeah.
Police arbitrarily, killing people because they are protesting. There should be the right to have free speech. There should be the right to freedom to protest. But once again, I think a few days ago there was again some issues. Improving the Nigerian constitution on those elements of human rights is an important thing, because we all are entitled to human rights. So we pray.
Maybe Nigeria needs you more than England. But yeah, no, it'd be nice. Listen, man, we've got to round up one day as well. Jennifer, you're going to speak to I think I would love you to speak specifically to young black girls, because what you're doing is paving the way, in a way. I hope and I pray, and I do believe that you will come through in this, you will win.
Amen.
Amen. Proper amen to it. But speak to that young African girl, that young black girl somewhere in a part of the world and all that. That's your camera.
Okay.
So you're going to tell them what it will take for them to be able to achieve, or at least aim for, stuff like what you're doing now, to be able to dream beyond boundaries, to not see color, to not see skin color, to not see gender, to not see all these as barriers to their dream, that they can move in regardless of the gatekeepers, regardless of the
naysayers.
Please speak to that young girl.
Okay, young princess. Yes, you can be anything you want to be. Trust me. Number one, you're the most beautiful, intelligent person you know, okay? No matter what you feel can limit you, it's within your mind. So far as you believe, you will achieve it, okay? Number two, don't listen to the negative vibes at all. People will always have something to say, whether you're doing good or you're doing bad. So just do what you know is right and continue to believe in yourself. Number three, life is a learning curve. You will always make mistakes, but it's how you pick yourself up from them, okay? Everybody has had a bad day, including me, plenty, okay? So don't even beat yourself up if you get something wrong. Take the positive out of that lesson and make sure you step up and onwards. And number four, be involved. If you don't be involved, then you can't make change. You've got to make the move. Okay? But have that confidence in yourself in making your own decisions and forging your own path. Everybody is different. Everybody is unique. Nobody is the same. God does not make photocopies. So you just continue to be you, princess, and stay blessed.
Woo! God does not make photocopies. I like that. I really, really like that. On a final note, listen, when we talk politics in Nigeria, it's always money.
Oh.
Are you going to get richer when you become an MP?
No, I'm telling you. We need to continue to campaign. We've been...
we got your things. Please, let's have it.
When you're in Tottenham and you see these things, you know that you've got to supply, and getting rich. I'm not sure that the MP's salary is that fantabulous, but I'm not doing it for the money. No. I need to make sure I'm doing it for the people, which is what I'm doing it for. That salary is not much. I've got my own business, so it's about making change. I want to see the high roads change. I want to see people having accessible housing. I don't want mums coming up to me saying we don't have a big enough playground in our school, we don't have enough teachers in our school. I want to make sure that changes. I want to make sure people don't have to leave Tottenham to reach their fullest potential. That should not be happening. People thinking I've got to get out of here. People should be like, oh no, I've got my resources. I can go to this project. I can go to that project. We need to make change in Tottenham, and I want to be that change.
Woo! Right, people, and this is my own manifesto for Jennifer. Listen, I love what she's doing. I wholeheartedly endorse it. Not because she's been on here and all that, but I do like the fact that she's taking baby steps. It's Tottenham, and then from Tottenham to what's next?
The rest of the world.
To become the Prime Minister and all that. Who knows? So one day we can have a black female Prime Minister in the UK, but we can only start by getting involved. So young people, please get out, man. Vote. Let's support our own. Let's put our voice out there. This is the whole idea of Hero's Diary, to speak black success. Listen, guys, that's it. We're going to see you in the next episode.